guys, so I'm gonna do a science experiment with you guys today, and since we're talking about Earth Day and saving the planet, or helping the planet, because it's Earth Day last week, shoot. Well, it's always good to help the Earth. Okay, so what we're gonna talk about is, well, how oil, I have some oil here that I cook with, and water, they don't go together. Not really sure why. They're just two different things that when you mix them together, they don't mix together. They just stay separate. It's weird. So we're gonna talk about how that is not good for animals in the ocean. Okay, so what I'm gonna do first, I've got this container here, and I just put some rocks in the bottom of it just to kind of, because the ocean isn't perfectly clean. There's things at the bottom like sand and rocks and coral. There's tons of stuff. So it's not going to be perfect water when I pour it in. Okay, there we go. So, but I mean, overall, it looks pretty clean. It's good water. So then, okay, so we're gonna pretend that this is kind of like a different kind of oil. There's different kinds of oil. So this one is one that I would use to cook with. And then there's oil that we use in our cars, in lawnmowers, in airplanes, and we use these things all the time, so we need lots of oil. But the problem is, when there are big boats that are carrying oil, they're called oil tankers, they go across the ocean to deliver oil to different places like us, and sometimes the boats, I'm not sure what happens exactly, but I know the oil spills, and it's a mess in the ocean. So maybe you've heard about oil spills before, don't know what it is, so I'll kind of explain it a little bit. So, oil spills. So let's just pretend there was a boat going across the ocean and it spilled a bunch of, maybe it hit a rock, or maybe something happened with the container that was holding it. But look at the oil. See what happened there? It's not mixing in with the water. So, you know what, let me grab a stick real quick and I'll try to mix it up and show you that it really doesn't become mixed up. It just stays separate at the top of the water. So, I'm gonna try to mix it around, and it just keeps coming back together at the top.
Mess.
Yes, it's a total mess. So, how do you think that affects all the animals and the fish that live in the ocean? It's not the kind of water I would want to live in if I were a fish, or it's not the kind of water I'd be able to grow in if I was coral. It's definitely not healthy looking. So we're gonna pretend that we have a little ocean animal here. It's a little duck. So we're gonna put him in here because he's gonna swim around and think that it's just a regular day in the ocean. And he's getting very, very dirty, okay? It looks like it's just water, but it's very slimy. And if I were a bird, I would definitely have trouble swimming in this kind of water. It clumps together. It makes their wings stick down. It's hard for them to breathe. It's a mess. And it's very hard to clean up in our oceans. So we really have to be careful. And it just shows us that even though we think we need all these things, like we might need a lot of oil, it still affects all the animals around us, especially in the ocean. So once again, if you look closely here on the top, it doesn't combine. It doesn't mix. It's just a big blob.
Sticks to the feathers.
And, I also brought something to kind of show you. So, this oil, like that I just poured in, it's pretty clear. I mean, it has a yellow color, but it's not that dirty. So So the oil that these boats usually carry, it's called crude oil, which means it's kind of brownish or blackish. It's very dirty. It's not as clean as this oil. So we're gonna pretend that this is part of the crude oil. It's just, oops, hold on. It's just got stuff in it.
Pesticides.
Yeah, well, if you heard Mrs. Schultz, fertilizers and pesticides.
They also help to pollute the waters.
So I'm gonna put that back on there. Ugh. So some of it did go to the bottom, and then lots of it is still at the top, and it's just sticky. It's very dirty. So let's pretend this little guy is in here again. He's swimming around.
Poor ducky.
And all this stuff is just floating in the ocean.